That's okay. Anthony's been handling business. Leah and Andy too. I hope you guys enjoyed Daryl's presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed the workshop around food and how important that is to make sure that people have it, right? Basic stuff. But today we're going to talk about a different kind of inclusion. Like, of course we want people to have food and be included in that, but we're also talking about culturally. We're also talking about how important it is for us to consider behaviors, consider purpose and intention. Today, I'm joined by Hans Utter here to my right, Doctor of Ethnomusicology, who also practices Nada Yoga, which is about transformative healing through music. And we really appreciate Hans being here. And we also have some illustrious guests here who are so amazing, just like yesterday's guests. I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday's workshop with Mary Jane Borden and the purveyors of the joints who are also here. Amazing stories. There are another set of amazing stories here as well. So we're going to do the same format we did yesterday. We're going to go through our little round robin and talk to Sizzle, Devin, and Will. And we're going to talk a little bit about their aspects around their experiences around how important it is for us to consider these things when we talk about inclusion and representation. All right, thanks again. All right, so Sizzle, we'll start with you since you're directly to my left. All right, so just easy peasy. This one's super easy. Just tell people who you are. I'm sure they would like to hear a little bit about you.
I am Sizzle. I am the influencer behind the Sizzle with Sizzle blog. I'm the founder of Crafted Culture Brewing Company. There's not much else to say about me other than that. You know.
Okay, well tell me a little bit about Crafted Culture Brewing Company though.
So right now, Crafted Culture is Central Ohio's first black-owned brewery. And we just really kind of got excited about building a platform.
I'm sorry. First, like, really? Just now? Wow. Like that in and of itself should say lots of stuff.
Craft beer has been in and around Central Ohio for over 40 years, and we just got our first black-owned brewery.
Wow.
Right? So yeah, that was a thing, right?
Yes. That was a thing.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
But we were just really excited to do something to bring equity and inclusion to the forefront of the conversation in craft beer, because we realized the trend of acceptance everywhere we go, but not inclusion in those cases. So like, it was important to us to highlight the difference. And then like, as a single dad with like 2 queer kids, I'm like, yo, like they enjoy this industry. Like, where do they go to enjoy it and feel safe? So it's like, it kind of became the mission for us to like not just be black, but be inclusive to everybody. Like, consider people when they're not in your space and tailor your space to make them comfortable in it. So yeah, that's Crafted Culture in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. Devin.
Yes.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Devin Ayers. I am what I like to affectionately refer to myself as a dragtivist. So
okay.
A drag activist. I've been performing here in Columbus almost 10 years now. So,
okay.
Yeah. Such a great show. I really and truly have been trying as hard as I possibly can to create spaces for individuals like myself. And when I say like myself, I mean black individuals in the drag community, in the burlesque community. You're kind of hard-pressed sometimes to find individuals that aren't trying to conform to a certain aesthetic. And my mission, I have a production company with my spouse, and that's the whole thing, is creating spaces for people to truly be themselves and be as black as they need to be.
Unapologetic.
Yes, and in all its iterations, and imagination is the limit. Right? I mean, it's not sky's the limit with imagination around that. I mean, I know, like I did a little aside. I know I've been to your establishment. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But before we get there, Will, please tell us a little bit about yourself too.
All right, my name is William Booth. I work with an agency called AIDS Healthcare Foundation. We're the largest global organization providing health care for people who are HIV positive, but we also get into social justice issues. I myself am a representative for the state of Ohio, and I mean I've traveled the whole state. So I've learned that each pocket is, throughout the state of Ohio is all different. So you really have to pay attention to each population, each group you're in, and make sure services are provided, whichever way it is, and also doing social justice issues. What's central around that area or with those people. I've been a sexual health educator with HIV and AIDS educator with the Red Cross for a very long time. And I know, certainly there was a lot of disparities in healthcare there. So I'm really appreciative of the fact that that is something that, there are people like you who are doing that, because when I first started doing that, maybe 15 years ago, it really wasn't there, looking into those pockets and looking into that. So I certainly appreciate the fact that, we talk about inclusion, it's also about getting there. Yeah. Making sure that we show up in those places so that we can. And you gotta go there. Yep, you do. You do. Exactly. You do. You absolutely do. Okay. So where do you think, and we'll keep going with you, where do you think Columbus stands in terms of progress of Black inclusion? Where do you think we stand with that? Well, it's hard for me to say it's getting better, but I see things getting better on the whole. But then you have now this whole situation where people are so vocal about what they're able to say that it makes you feel like we're backslid, And I don't know if it's just the environment, or I hate blaming it on a whole presidential situation or connection, but I feel like people feel like they freely can say anything, and at the same time, it goes back to educate. A lot of those people who are making those vocal comments have never really experienced to sit down and talk to someone, and they're just going by what someone has said, and we're going to go follow that, and then instead of paying attention to what's really going on. But then you do have some of the people who are in the know, I will say, yesterday with the court system with the state, with Planned Parenthood and stuff like that, they were pounding. We had congressmen who were pounding the table to stop the person for presenting the bill. Yeah. So that meant that was people who were sitting there who we elected, who were at least following suit. So I think it has gotten some sense of betterment, but you still have the ignorance that's out there. Sure. And I said Columbus, but as you mentioned, you travel the state, and I know that you're based out of Dayton. Yeah. So do you see differences? Maybe does Columbus feel a little bit more, progressive to you? What are some of your thoughts around that, I wonder? Okay. Well, when you look back, I've been with AHF for 10 years, so I've noticed the difference in what has gone forward. Columbus has always been more of a inclusive city than the other cities in the state of Ohio, but I'm noticing that there's a lot of change in Cincinnati, especially for people of color. There are a lot of organizations that are really excelling. Cleveland area sort of at a standing, like on an even keel. What's there was there. You see a little bit of new, but not a whole lot of new. But I tell you, the city that really impresses me is Akron. Yeah? Yeah, Akron is growing leaps and bounds on it. Really? Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. Very quiet, but it's really good done. Yeah. I mean, that's news to me. Is that news to you? Is that news to you guys?
I would say it's definitely news to me, but I'm more.
That's where you're opening up your next place, is in Akron. That's what's next.
Right? As a Columbus native, my experience in travels was not really throughout the state of Ohio. I spent a lot of my time in the Army, so I was traveling state to state. But you still, when you get in these military bases, it's still so compact. It feels like you're developing your vision in the fishbowl, right? You can't really see outside of that. So, it was interesting to hear you say Akron, because that's not even.
Me too.
That wasn't even a city I was thinking to assess. Honestly, right? I'm like, because who?
Akron definitely didn't come to mind.
You never think of Akron.
Have you been to Akron though?
No, I'm saying.
Maybe
right. Akron is a college town. For years. They actually have been inclusive in a lot of ways. The first one, and even going beyond race, the gender inclusion out there.
Yes, it is. It's ridiculous.
They're a lot more progressive than you believe, and I performed there before, and it's one of the few places that I went that I was like, all right, I'm going to Akron, and then I got there and I was like, oh wow, this is great.
Akron. Okay.
Whoa.
You know, it's a breath of fresh air. Lots of people there that
Whoa.
they just see you, they nod, and
This is another ComFest moment.
Yeah.
This is how ComFest is. You talk to people that you don't normally talk to. You have conversations that you don't normally have, and boom, something great comes out of it. Thanks, Will. Thanks for seconding that, David. Now you got two people that would definitely open up the next place over there. Okay, so asking the same question to Devin, since we're like doing it this way. So where do you think Columbus is now? Of course, that you've seen Akron, you're like breath of fresh air. Where do you think Columbus is in terms of progress? You know, on inclusion and all that we've been talking about here.
I see Columbus the same way I see any place that I've ever been to or traveled. I'm originally from California. I went to school in Philadelphia. I've had the blessing and the opportunity to do quite a bit of traveling around. I believe that Columbus, honestly, as far as inclusion goes, maybe we have a little bit more visibility here, but I wouldn't actually say, oh, Columbus is, you know, that's the gold standard. I would say Columbus is the gold standard when it comes to visibility. But true, if we're talking true inclusion, if we're talking black inclusion, the country has loops and bounds to go. Right? The only thing, I feel like there are more eyes on Columbus. We have like right now, you know, we're in a studio. There are more places in this small demographic where people can speak out. But really and truly, I hate to sound like I'm the big heavy or anything, but
You think when it comes down to brass tacks,
this
it's
was
like,
a really great example when he started telling his story, and I think the phrase of the hour is, you know, hey, at least it's something, you know, we're
and
getting,
also first,
you know, and so that's what I think of, you know, when you're really focusing on that.
Very true, very true. And you know, like talking about also like black and also black gay culture, right? So you talked about you have 2 queer children also. So let's even like take it there, right? In terms of like even narrowing it down even to that point, right? So how do you feel about like, you know, where Columbus stands in that, right? So
I feel like sitting in this order as you asked the question, like I'm watching this bar graph, I'm watching this line graph go just like this, right? Because you have Will who's like, yeah, like we're like right here. And then goes, oh, we're kind of like right here. I'm like, we're probably like right the fuck here somewhere, right? Because like that's how I feel about it.
Somebody throw up an infographic.
Not because there aren't people in the city who are like driving that effort. I think the issue is that it's still a divisive effort. The city is still segmented in these pockets where, like, again, like people live in the fishbowl. Like I don't really want to like harp on this, but like I remember like graduating high school, moving into the short north. I'm my friends like, dude, that's the short north. That's where all the queers and the gays people and the lesbians live. Why do you live there? You're not one of those people. It's like, well, I live there because I can afford $350 a month to live over top of the garden. That's why I live there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter who else is in the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? But like the fact that I say like, yo, I'm from East Columbus, like Livingston and Barnett, meet me at the rec. You know what I'm saying? People already have a picture in their mind of who lives at Livingston and Barnett.
So true.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
when I tell you I live in Worthington now, you know what I'm saying? Like they go, they are
Cute little shots.
I
love where you live.
What a great neighborhood. Like no, like
there's that micro aggression.
right. I'm like, man.
Yeah, the old Ginger Trail.
Right. So for me, like, until we can stop celebrating like this stuff, right? Like, it's cool that I got the first black-owned brewery, but the fact that we're still clapping about it is a problem.
And the fact that it's 2021 too is a problem. Like, it seriously blows my mind. Like, seriously blows my mind.
Basically, I'm gonna say this: that when I said it's more open, The opportunities are there.
Right.
But the biggest problem we have, there's no communication down the pipe to say, okay, this is available for you. You know, and,
Right.
and it's hard to get the word out to the right people.
Right, you put a program in place to help a specific segment of people, but you don't do anything to get the message to their neighbor, to them.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we find out so many things, like, with 1 week left to, like, fill out the application, but it's like 9 days worth of work to get the application.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how did I just get the shit?
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
We have a tendency here in the city, I do believe, that it's part of that idea that Columbus is so progressive that a lot of folks are hiding behind that label of being so progressive and not seeing further enough to actually walk the walk.
right, preparation
Just
gets you
talk
to the
the talk,
progress.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some preparation
Right.
for the progress, right?
Right.
Like, where are we incubating that preparation? Like, where are we cultivating that at? Right? Those are the spaces that we have to provide access to.
Right, and so that brings us to that next round, right? So one thing I just want to comment on, like, well, I'm guessing that you're older than me and Devin and Sizzle.
He's
No
probably not
problem.
older than me, but
No
we're gonna
problem.
ride
I'm
with
But
it.
what I'm trying to say is, when you were
We
talking
can talk
about
about
that art,
Yeah.
I can only imagine the circumstances when you were here, right? And like talking about inclusion and like you're seeing definitely things at least progressing in the right direction. Maybe not where we want it to be, and this is where I want to take it next. So let's talk about how can we enlighten others? What can we do? Sizzles, what can we do to enlighten others? Like you talked about, like how do we pass on the IP? How do we pass on, like, here's how you make that grant happen. Here's how you pass on this information. How do we do that?
So for me, the dissemination of information in today's day and age, no excuse, right? Like there's no excuse to not talk, and I believe that there's no excuse to not know, really, at this point. Like I've watched in craft beer, like so many of these big breweries make massive mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, wait a minute. Again, we're in a fishbowl. There's only so many of these things, right? So how the hell did you not know that your comrade, your colleague, you know what I'm saying, 3 cities over did this dumb shit before you did it?
Because they didn't.
Right? Exactly. So like I think the first thing to do is like attack this thing from the top. I know, just train the trainers. Right? Like let's realign the mission. Like you got people in place that are supposed to be doing a job. Okay, we're going to redirect that a little bit, right? Like in the military, we say shoot, move, communicate. Take a shot, move to where you're safe, and then communicate what has to happen next.
Yeah.
So take a shot. If you miss, it's okay. Move to where you're going to be safe next, and then communicate how you redirect so that your shot can be effective. Like, don't be a fucking stormtrooper and just fire these fucking shots off,
Remember,
but not hit a fucking
he's
thing.
saying fudging.
Oh, my
He's saying
bad.
fudging.
I'm sorry. I
Just
thought.
making that clear. Clarifying here.
Talking
There's a
about
little bit
all
of a
the fudge.
static
Yeah.
here.
All the
Fudging.
fudge.
Fudging. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I will over enunciate the
Just-
fudges from now on.
Thank you
Okay,
so
I got you.
There was a crackling, just make sure you guys heard the right thing.
But that's my take on how we do it. Like train the trainers, redirect the apex of the wedge so that's effective.
What are you doing to pass this on to young black men and women? Also, by the way, I mean, it was maybe 5 years ago that I heard women saying that they were the first women free. I'm like, oh, blown away that too.
Right.
So how are you passing that enlightenment on? Like saying, come on, let's go. This is how you do it. This is mistakes, set it out. You can open a business. How are you doing that?
All right, so it's gonna be a shameless plug.
Yes,
Let's
do
get
it.
in front of right?
That's what we're doing.
Shameless
here.
plug
Yep,
here.
Yep.
That's what we say. We say beer the change. Beer the change you want to see in the world. Like, my
Love
vehicle
that.
is beer. My megaphone is basically an aluminum can, right? So I'm going to keep talking through that liquid. Like somebody's going to hear me. It's not about the quantity of people who hear me. It's the quality of people. Like if I talk to 9 people, right? You know what I'm saying, in that room, and 3 of them pick up on what I'm talking about,
Yes.
and the other 6 like speak out against me.
Yes.
That's cool. I'm going to take
Fine.
those rounds, focus
Yep.
on me, keep giving me those, because the 3 people who
Yep.
picked it up have already ran the other direction with me.
That's right.
They're gone. They're
That's
doing
right.
it already. So keep bringing me the
That's
smoke
right. That's right.
so they can get clear in the room. Like,
Awesome.
that's how we got to keep doing it. There's
That's
got to
right.
be people who just do it.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. And so people who want to be those 3 people in the room, where can they go? Sizzle.com,
Oh, I mean, yeah.
craftedculture.com. Where do they go?
On Instagram, we are Crafted Culture Ohio. Like, it's probably like our highest concentration of visibility. Like, just kind of rock with us on there. Let us know what you're doing, because we keep sharing what you're doing with the people who are watching us. We represent a segment of the craft beer space that has not had a voice before, and I've been kicked out of every class I've ever been in for talking too much, so I'll get kicked out of this room too if I need to, right? I'll talk for you. Like, let me know. I'll be your megaphone. If
That's right.
a quiet voice, like, let me know what needs to be said. I'll say it for you. I'll share it.
Nice.
I'll keep pumping it out there. If
Nice.
it's not me, somebody else on the team will do it.
Nice. Thank you. Devin, how are you? How are you spreading the enlightenment? What are you doing?
What am I doing to spread? Now, when you're saying the enlightenment,
Enlightenment around how important it is. Not just important, by the way. People don't recognize there's value in inclusion. So when I talk to corporate America, and I do mental health in corporate America, this is what I say. I'm like, you want people with different points of view. So let's just imagine I'm holding a stick here, right? If I'm a dog, I see a toy. If I'm an angry person, I see a weapon. If I'm a musician, I see an instrument, drumsticks. If I'm cold, I see fire. And in a work team, I want people who have different points of view, because here's my problem. One solution, another solution, another solution, another solution. And it's been borne out. Work groups that have diversity and are inclusive of all points of view are the most successful. So that's what we're talking about. How do we continue to enlighten folks like this is the way?
and I was asking specifically because I love those answers, because my answer is I wake up every morning, I'm living and I'm breathing. I actually don't know what all I have not been exposed to, or what all opportunities that I may or may not have, because I'm not the one that's not including me. So if we're gonna be real honest, it's not my job to have that sort of, it just isn't.
Okay.
The job is with anybody that has any power and influence, that is at that top echelon of things, to open up their eyes, as the children are saying, become woke, and actually do something about what they're seeing. Because I see it every day.
Yeah.
I see it, I wake up in the morning with it, and I go to bed with it at night.
Yeah.
It's not my job to include me when I include myself in everything I can possibly be in.
I like it. Starts with me. I like that. Will.
Okay, now, the biggest problem with my situation is our main concern is health, okay? So I'm always going into the community talking about health. And sometimes you get that other person that may just slide up to you and say, I have this issue going on, which is centered around their health. So you start talking to someone, maybe it's one-on-one, then you find out there's other people that way, then you start to try to work towards helping them get that situation out. Whether our agency can help or some other group, I find out whether there's another group and that can help out. So I'll give you an example. Of course, I live in Dayton, which is Montgomery County. I didn't know until a year ago, and this program's been going on for 30 years, if you're low income and live in low income housing, you can buy a home. And the same assistance is there through your low income housing, where they'll pay the exact same amount till you own that home. But it's like, why come we don't hear about this stuff? Why don't we hear about, or just that, but you just got to keep, and like you were saying, I'm always learning. I'm always learning. I'm never too old to learn. I'm proud I'm 66, but I'm always open to learn. I'm always, and the connections that you open, that you meet with, it's amazing how things can develop from that. So my feeling is always be open, always be inclusive, always look at every situation and listen, and really listen.
Yeah.
Because if you are pinpointed and put those blinders on and saying, this is my mission, this is all I can deal with, you'll never get anywhere.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of, I'm sorry, I had my blinders on. I forgot to ask you to tell us about your website, and I forgot to ask you website.
You can find me Facebook, socials, all that stuff.
Where?
Airs, Gentleman Airs, Fox Airs Production, Gentleman Airs Entertainment. I'm
Great.
all over the place.
Great. And people who want to come and get services.
Okay, AIDS Healthcare, AIDSHealthcareFoundation.org is our main website. It's amazing how much stories and stuff go on there. But to get in touch with me, just put my name, Will Booth, at AIDSHealthcareFoundation.org. You'll get me.
Thank you so much. And also, I just want to say thank you to Hans today, who's playing his healing Nada Yoga music and being supportive here today. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Remember, it's on you. Don't leave it to us. We brought you something. Make more happen. 5 minutes.
They want more. The people need more.
I can do this. I can do this. All right, we got 5 minutes. All right, okay, everybody listen up. The official part is over. All
Can I
right.
steal like a moment because like
You can steal
you, like,
5
said
minutes of
something
moments. You can
that,
steal
like,
5
really
minutes
hit
of
me, right?
moments. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Just kind of learning what you do in the space. Like I would like to solicit your help with something. Okay, and so my daughter, when she came out to me, right? She was like, "I want you to do this thing for me." And I'm like, okay. You're gonna go through a lot by yourself. Like, let's see how wild this gets, right? Let's bring it, right?
Right on.
I'm dad. I can handle this, right? She goes, well, she wants to do this fundraiser to help kids whose parents don't really support, you know what I'm saying, their lifestyle, right? So she has like uniquely coined this thing, Dads in Drag. She wants dads
Love it too.
of rainbow kids, as she's so eloquently themed this, right? To like dress up and raise money to help any nonprofit organization that is so aligned with helping these kids out, right? And me being dad, of course, I agree to this, right?
Absolutely.
But dad is ignorance on fire, so he has no clue what the hell he's doing. So like I gotta take the opportunity to be in moments like this.
Let's do it.
And reach out to folks like you and say, hey, can we make that happen?
Yes, right off the bat, I'm like, I know 2 fantastic venues that would do that in a heartbeat. Not to mention, there's that allies are literally the only thing that keep marginalized communities going.
Yeah.
And children don't realize that there are so many more allies there other than that base foundation. You know, we have chosen families in the gay community. And you are strong enough to be her chosen and her, you know. That's some good stuff right there.
Yeah, so we're doing it like it's still
He's trying to get me in my heart.
Me too. That's great.
I didn't know if that opportunity would present itself again for me, so I had to like jump in and snatch that.
You know 2 places.
I know right off the bat, I know 2 places. I have monthly shows. I can donate one of my months easily.
Okay.
And something that would be a fantastic
More importantly,
thing to take on.
I'm a very competitive person. Okay? So you're going to have to help me step my game up so I can do this. Like, I've got to dress. I can't just organize this thing. So I got to go like head to toe. Right, gotta do this.
I wonder, we're still live.
Yeah, we're still live.
I have a lot of folks in the West family. Nina West, if you're listening, Virginia West, if you're listening, I think this would be a fantastic opportunity for some folks to reach out and really put some hands on this situation because, we can get you some professional.
Okay, Nina, I know you're listening.
Let's do it, yo.
Well, you sound like you wanted to say something.
Well, that's not, thinking about the connection.
Yeah.
It's something that a healthcare can help you also with some financial backing.
Let's do
Whoa.
it.
That sounds wonderful.
Yo, like,
Look at this.
It's
This
dope,
turns
right?
into a
Like,
thing. We can just, boom, put our hands together.
All right, you
Right.
guys, exchange numbers and everything. That magical moment was your bonus time. Thank you all for watching Virtual ComFest. Next up, my baby Anthony, my bae is upstairs. He's about to introduce our next band.
over there.
Happy ComFest, everybody!